Welcome back. In today's playoff history video, we're going to talk about Tampa. So we're going to talk about a team that's had a few Stanley Cups that are on this board. And yeah, there's some controversy at every cup. So there's that. But for Tampa fans, I doubt that matters a whole lot. Championships are championships, right? I watched Dallas win a Stanley Cup in 99. There's still some controversy around that. And there you go. 99-2000 is where we start in this video, and the Tampa Bay Lightning, who had gone through a period where they were good, and then they went back to being bad. They're 19-47-9-7, no playoffs, but their leading scorer, Vinny Lecavalier, who the owner of Tampa had said was going to be the Michael Jordan of hockey, didn't happen. Pretty good player, though. 80 games, 25 goals, 42 assists, 67 points to lead the team in scoring. 2000-2001, they get a little better. 24, 47, 6, and 5. Still no playoffs. Brad Richards is their leading scorer. 82 games, 21 goals, 41 assists, 62 points. And you can see that there's a good team here. It's just a matter of putting it all together. 2001-2002, they finished 27, 40, 11, and 4. No playoffs. Richards leads them in scoring again with almost the exact same totals. 82 games played again. 20 goals, so one less goal. 42 assists, one more assist for 62 points. 2002-2003, they finished 36, 25, 16, and 5. So they make the playoffs. In the first round, they knock out Washington in 6. And in the second round, they lose against New Jersey in 5. Vinny Prospel's their leading scorer. 80 games, 22 goals, 57 assists, 79 points. In 11 playoff games, 4 goals and 2 assists. So this is where it's kind of interesting. Tampa Bay, no playoffs. They make the playoffs once. The following year, they win the Stanley Cup. And this is something that, yeah, they're not bad at coming out of nowhere to win a Stanley Cup. So they finished 46, 22, 8, and 6 that year. Going into the playoffs, they were seen as being a very strong contender. They knocked out the Islanders in the first round in 5. The second round, they knock out Montreal in 4 straight. And then in the conference finals, a thrilling conference final, but they beat Philadelphia in 7. And then in the Stanley Cup final, they win in 7 games over Calgary. There's some controversy there, but they win it. So Marty St. Louis, their leading scorer, former Calgary Flame. 82 games, 38 goals, 56 assists, 94 points, and in 23 playoff games, 9 goals and 15 assists for 24 points. So Tampa Bay, top of the world. 2005-2006, they finished 43, 33, and 6. Keep in mind, the 04-05 season's been wiped out. Tampa might have had a shot at repeating as Cup champion, but they lose in the first round in 2006 in 5 games. Richards, the leading scorer, 82 games, 23 goals, 68 assists, 91 points. In 5 playoff games, 3 goals and 5 assists for Richards. So 2006-2007 rolls around. They're still in the playoffs, 44, 33, and 5. Almost the exact same record they had the year before. But they lose in the first round again, this time against New Jersey in 6. Vinny Lecavalier is the leading scorer, probably the best year of his career. 82 games, 52 goals, 56 assists, 108 points. But in the playoffs, only has the 6 games, 5 goals and 2 assists in 7 games. 7 points in 6 games. So yeah, Lecavalier, star player. That debate is still out there about whether or not he should be in the Hall of Fame. But 2007-2008, Tampa falls out of the playoffs. They finished 31, 42, and 9. Lecavalier is their leading scorer again. 81 games, 40 goals, 52 assists, 92 points. 2008-2009, no playoffs. This is like a feast or famine franchise. Really is. 24, 40, and 18. And at some point in time, I expect the current Tampa Bay Lightning to just fall out of the sky for like 3-4 years, and then suddenly they'll be a contender again. That's just how their history's gone. Marty St. Louis led them in scoring that year. 82 games, 30 goals, 50 assists, 80 points. 2009-2010, they finished 34, 36, and 12. For the third straight season, they're outside the playoffs. Stamkos, their leading scorer, 82 games, 51 goals, 44 assists, 95 points. So now we're getting into the Stamkos era, moving on from Lecavalier era, and this is kind of how Tampa Bay works. 2010-2011, they're back in the playoffs after 3 years off. 46, 25, and 11. In the first round, they knock out Pittsburgh in 7. Second round, they beat Washington in 4 straight. In the conference final, they lost against Boston in 7. Now, the controversy is in favor of Tampa. There's also a controversy against Tampa in that Boston had a really tough time killing off any penalties that they took in that series. Tampa Bay's power play was lethal. In Game 7, there were no penalties called. To this day, there are fans who weren't happy about that there wasn't a single penalty called. And so it was a very tight-checking defensive game that Boston wins in 7. But yeah, if there had been a power play for Tampa, who knows how that series might have turned. 82 games played by Marty St. Louis to lead the team with 31 goals, 68 assists for 99 points. That close to 100 points that year. 18 games in the playoffs, 10 goals, 10 assists, 20 points. So with the bitter taste of being knocked out in the conference finals still there, in 2011-2012, they actually missed the playoffs. They finished 38, 36, and 8. Stamkos leads them in scoring. 82 games, 60 goals for Stamkos, 37 assists, 97 points. And Stamkos was one of the best goal scorers in the league at this point, a league which, yes, still has Ovechkin. 2012-2013, they finished 18, 26, and 4. So miserable record, no playoffs. Marty St. Louis leads them in scoring. In 48 games, 17 goals, 43 assists, 60 points. So that short schedule, Marty St. Louis did very well. 2013-2014, they finished 46, 27, and 9. So they get back into the playoffs after 2 years outside the playoffs, but in the first round they meet Montreal, and Montreal sweeps them in 4 straight. So Marty St. Louis leads them in scoring for the regular season in that he's the top scorer, but he only played 62 games, 29 goals, 32 assists, 61 points. He was traded before the end of the year to the New York Rangers, and none of the players on Tampa caught that 61 points. So this was a tough time. This was honestly a tough time in that Marty St. Louis, who should have retired as a Tampa Bay Lightning player, gets traded to the Rangers. This, of course, all started with the rift between he and Steve Yzerman and who he chose for Team Canada. So this was a rift that had gone on, and Marty St. Louis got traded. It was kind of an ugly time, but it doesn't last. 2014-2015, Tampa Bay ends up 50, 24, and 8. So while, yes, there's that upset about Marty St. Louis, when your team wins 50 games, you feel pretty good about yourself, your team, and all that, and the fans are pretty happy. First round, they beat Detroit in 7. Second round, they beat Montreal in 6. And then in the conference final, they beat the Rangers in an absolute thriller. The Rangers trying to get back to the Stanley Cup final. And Tampa Bay stopped them in 7. So they go to the Stanley Cup final in one of the most entertaining Stanley Cup finals I've ever watched. The Chicago Blackhawks beat Tampa Bay in 6. Stamkos, 82 games, 43 goals, 29 assists for 72 points. In the playoffs, he records 7 goals and 11 assists for 18 points since 26 games. The question mark with Stamkos is Game 7s. He doesn't record many points in Game 7s. It's a storyline that was definitely mentioned a lot in 2015, and I'm mentioning it here because it is noteworthy when you're talking about Tampa Bay's playoff history. 2015-2016, they finished 46, 31, and 5, so very solid record. In the first round, they knock out Detroit in 5. Then they knocked out the Islanders in the next round, also in 5, before losing to the Penguins, who were going to win the Stanley Cup. That series went 7. Nikita Kucherov leads them in scoring that year, 70 games, 30 goals, 36 assists for 66 points. In 17 playoff games, he records 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. Then you get to 2016-2017. Tampa Bay fell way out of the race, and then they turned it on, and they were close, and they just fell short. They finished 42, 30, and 10 to miss the playoffs for the first time in a while. Kucherov leads them in scoring again, 74 games, 40 goals, 45 assists, 85 points, as Kucherov keeps getting better every year. 2017-2018, they do get back into the playoffs, and they have an excellent record. 54, 23, and 5. In the first round, they knock out New Jersey in 5. Second round, they knocked out Boston, also in 5. And they're steamrolling. And then they met the Washington Capitals, who had just knocked out their nemesis, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Washington beats them in a thrilling 7-game series in the conference finals. So this is a team that don't go down easily, is their reputation at this point. Kucherov, 80 games, 39 goals, 61 assists, 100 points, led them in scoring. In 17 playoff games, 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points. Then we get to the infamous 2018-2019 season. They finished with 62 wins, which is a ridiculous amount of wins. 16 losses and 4 overtime or shootout losses. So going into the playoffs, Columbus is dead. That's what I said as kind of a joke at the start of the preview I did for that series. But Columbus beat them. And Columbus beat them in 4 straight. And it wasn't just they beat them in 4 straight. It was just the whole attitude of Tampa. It just felt like they thought it was just going to happen. That after that 62-win regular season, well, we're going to beat Columbus. And they didn't really turn it on, and you didn't really see the Tampa Bay effort until they were down in Game 4. And that's just too late. So Kucherov led him in scoring, 82 games, 41 goals, 87 assists for 128 points. Ridiculous amount of points for Kucherov. In the playoffs, however, he was suspended for 1 game. In the 3 games he appeared in, he just had the 2 assists. So this is where the question marks really start to come up with Tampa. Whether or not Tampa is good enough, right? 2019-2020, they showed they were good enough. They eased off in the regular season. They finished 43-21-6, so they didn't have the same winning percentage they did the year before. But when the playoffs rolled around after the pause, in the first round they knocked out Columbus in 5. In the second round they knocked out Boston, also in 5. In the conference finals they knock out the Islanders in 6. And then in the Stanley Cup final against an upstart Dallas Stars, they shut them down in 6 games. Dallas was just overmatched. Kucherov led them in scoring that year, 68 games, 33 goals, 52 assists for 65 points in 25 playoff games, 7 goals, 27 assists for Kucherov. 2020-2021, very good regular season by Tampa, but they finished 3rd in their division at 36-17-3. And so they had to start on the road against Florida. They had the series against Carolina after that, where, again, they were the road team to start the series. They did pretty well. They knocked out Florida in 6 in the first round in what was a war. Second round, they beat Carolina in 5. And then in the conference final, they beat the Islanders in a hotly contested series in 7. So in this case, they win that tough series in that 7th game, which had been a problem for them at points in their history. In the Stanley Cup final, they surprisingly meet the Montreal Canadiens. They beat the Montreal Canadiens in 5. So Montreal, who had beaten them here in a sweep, they had swept Montreal here. And in this case, this one goes 5. The 2015 series went 6. So Tampa Bay does pretty well against Montreal in the playoffs. Braden Point was their leading scorer during the regular season. Kucherov missed every regular season game. So Point, 56 games, 23 goals, 25 assists, 48 points to lead the team in scoring. In the playoffs, he plays 23 games, 14 goals, 9 assists, 23 points. A lot of important goals from Braden Point, and a team that just, the depth was fantastic and it all just clicked. So when we look at this team's overall playoff history, it's impressive. Kucherov leads the overall scoring in playoffs. 113 games played, 44 goals, 83 assists, 127 points. Victor Hedman, next on the list, 132 games played, 19 goals, 69 assists for 88 points. Andre Palat, 115 games, 37 goals, 36 assists, 73 points. One of the unsung heroes in Tampa, really. Braden Point, 67 playoff games, 36 goals, 37 assists, 73 points. Stamkos, 94 games, 32 goals, 40 assists, 72 points. And Alex Killorn, another unsung hero for them, 111 games played, 34 goals, 34 assists, 68 points. This is a team where the core is still together. The question mark becomes one of, can they win that 3rd straight Stanley Cup in 2022? I'm not betting against them. I know they've lost a lot of depth in the offseason. However, this is a team that consistently throughout their history has been able to find those players when they need them. And since Yzerman's reign as GM, they've been developing a lot of really good players. Ross Colton comes to mind as one that kind of came out of nowhere, and now he is kind of a staple in their lineup going into next season. So we'll see whether or not they can win another. So, all right. The playoff history of the Tampa Bay Lightning from 99-2000 until now. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.